Hey there, friends, and welcome to Pro Tools Answers, where 3 certified Pro Tools experts and avid instructors discuss, demonstrate, and elaborate on your Pro Tools questions put to the community in the official Avid support forum on Facebook. I'm your host, Dave Phillips, audio engineer and lecturer based in the UK, and today we are tackling a question from Michael, who asks, I've just accidentally deleted all of my vocal tracks. Been there, Michael. Can't undo. Doesn't seem to be a revert to my past saves like other DAWs. So how do I come back from this? I spent all night doing vocal edits and I just want to put a loaded t-shirt cannon in my mouth and squeeze the trigger in front of a crowd. I'm pretty sure that's a Dead Rising reference. So if it is, I'm really impressed. So this is leading us to talking about, I think this is going to lead us into talking about undoable actions, how we can recover from some of the few actions that we can't undo in Pro Tools. We can talk about the actions that are undoable, how undo works, and how to get around stuff that when we just fail irrecoverably.
But also, of course, there is Revert, and Revert is a feature in Pro Tools, so of course you can revert.
Yeah, and also backups, and Pro Tools does deal with session backups differently than many other DAWs. And it sounds like this might be where that guy's having a problem as well.
So you just heard my 2 esteemed co-hosts. Please welcome from Tonkraftwerk in Austria, the legendary Anders Motz.
Hi, coming to you from Stockholm today, by the way.
Yeah, I don't need to show off.
Oh, look at me! I can travel.
and keeping the 2 of us in check.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
That's usually my line. And then keeping me and Anders in check and making sure we do keep our mouths shut in Tokyo, the legendary Andy Hagerman.
Still in Tokyo, can't leave.
It's probably just stay at home. Best thing to do, just stay at home. Yeah,
don't even leave this room.
Keep calm. Use Pro Tools.
There you go.
Yeah. So before we jump into this, as usual, I just want to say a massive thank you to the Patreons who donate to the channel every month. You guys just it warms our hearts whenever we log on to Patreon and see you guys are helping to support our work. If you value what we're doing at Pro Tools Answers, you've been following us for a while, you're just discovering us, you can head over to patreon.com/Pro Tools Answers. You can donate to the channel and help support it, help keep it going, etc., etc. We've got some interesting Patreon benefits for each of the different tiers, and if you head over to protoolsanswers.com, we now have a merch page. Andy's been working really hard to get the shirts up on sale.
There you go, baby.
Yeah, these things are awesome. Okay, so let's look at undoable actions. So would anyone like to jump in first?
Well, yeah, let's start off with where he said, my session has crashed and I can't revert in the same way that I have with other DAWs. Yeah. So when your session goes down, when your session fails, and every piece of software will fail, there are a series of backup session files that are created, or that can be created, and it's usually a mistake that people make once in their professional life is to uncheck the backup sessions box. And they only make that mistake once. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just jump in and say, of course, you can revert to the previously saved state. And I'm not sure if Pro Tools actually crashed. He said that he accidentally deleted his vocal tracks, right? So in that case, if you mess up in any way and you want to return to the last saved version of your session, you go to File, and there is a button called Revert to Saved. And as you see, I haven't saved my session yet, so it's unavailable to me. But that's the button that you would press, and it would just load the last saved version of that session.
Yeah, and before we go into backups, the other thing too is that it sounds like this guy deleted a track by accident and he can't undo it because one of the things that drives me nuts about Pro Tools is that not only is deleting a track not undoable, but nothing is undoable after you delete a track in Pro Tools. So it's one of those things that clears what's called the cache. So Anders, I've lost Zoom here. Yeah. So right. So let me, and I want to show this a little bit more harshly. Create for me, if you could, an audio track and just consolidate a clip on it.
Yep, sure. So there's an audio track, and that's your consolidated audio.
Great. Now go ahead and drag it.
Yep.
Okay. And let's duplicate it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure. That's it.
And nudge it.
Okay.
And nudge it.
Yeah, I'll nudge it a couple of.
Brilliant. Now,
yep.
One of the cool things in Pro Tools is you can see the history of your undo. So in the window drop-down menu, you're going to see close to the bottom, you're going to see your undo history, which has no shortcut for reasons I can't fathom. Go to that, and you'll see all the different things that Anders has done. Wonderful. Now, create, and this is the maddening part. This drives me absolutely crazy. Create a brand new track of any kind. Let's call it an aux track.
Yep, yeah, sure. So I'm creating a. You want the stereo aux track or?
Doesn't matter for the purposes of this. It doesn't matter.
So I'll create it. Yep, there you go.
Fabulous. There you go. Now, don't touch that aux track. Don't do anything to it. Mm-hmm. Just delete it.
Yeah. Okay. So how do I delete this track?
It's also worth pointing out that the track creation doesn't appear in the undo history window.
That's a great point. That's a super point.
So I'll just right-click on the track itself.
You could right, or you can go up to track and delete. Yeah, there's two different ways you can do it. Great. Now delete it. And boom. Mm-hmm. And it clears out the entire. There are a few things. So deleting clips, deleting tracks. A good general rule of thumb is don't delete. Deactivating a track, no problem. But when you delete a track, that is an undoable thing in itself, but it also makes everything else that you've done also undoable.
So what you just said here, so I just did a duplicate and I slid a clip here, and I'll just nudge this clip. And this time I'll create an aux track, and instead of deleting the track, you said it's better to make it inactive or hide and make inactive. Mm-hmm. If I do that, I still have access to all of my undos.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Makes sense. Totally.
And one of the things I do because I go ahead, Dave.
You may be saying the same thing. I was going to ask you to open the tracks list and then just move the deactivated stuff to the bottom.
So I used to drag them all towards the bottom. In fact, I used to create an aux track and just call it unused, and everything under that track was just kind of in an unused category.
Nice.
Folder tracks make this 10 times easier because so you create a basic folder track and call it garbage.
Okay. So a basic folder track. So I'm going up here and I'm calling it garbage, right? Garbage. Right. Yep.
Now, make that track inactive.
So this folder track I'm making inactive. Okay, make inactive.
Now everything you drag in there, whether it was active or not, becomes inactive.
Oh, so for this one as well. So if I pull this into the garbage track, it goes inactive as well. Whoa, that's a great feature.
That's really cool. So you just created a Pro Tools hosted trash bin.
That's exactly right. That is always undoable and doesn't do the damage to your undo history that deleting does.
Fantastic. And of course, the benefit of there are a couple of benefits of making tracks inactive and invisible. First off, they don't consume any resources whatsoever. If they're inactive, they're not using a voice, they're not using any processing power. So that you can safely create them and just forget about them. Yeah. And if you ever need them again, you can always.
Yeah. Well, do you know, what we could do is, because we're doing this because it gets rid of our undo history. When we save and then reopen, there's no undo history left there, is there? So when you reopen that session again, the first thing you can do is clear your trash.
If you want to. I mean, I have a number of different Hagerman rules that I teach in my class. The first one is don't delete, because two things. One, it clears the undo history. But I can count more times than I can count. Are the times when I was absolutely sure I would never need another track again. Delete it, and then I would kill for that track again. Right? You know, you'll the amounts of time the percentage of time that I've regretted deleting a track far outnumbers the amount of time that I've regretted not deleting a track.
Guys, I have a little a thing that I would like to share. I mean, it's the wrong occasion, I know. But speaking of folder tracks, what I've been doing lately is inserting the Forte F in front of all of the names of my folder tracks, so that I can quickly see it from far that it's a folder track, even though I see the track icon and stuff. I just think that's a nice thing. Keeps me organized.
He's so sweet.
There you go.
Good for you.
There you go.
Nice, man.
Yeah. So great stuff. So what else? What could you do if you actually deleted a track and you can't revert for whatever reason?
Right. So revert to saved is something you were talking about. So let's go down that road before we go into session backup. So we're looking at your screen, and you've got a session. And just so that we have a point of backup, let's go ahead and just real quickly save it.
Okay.
All right. And let's just do something that we know is not undoable. So do me a favor and delete the kick in track.
It's my favorite of the tracks. Okay, so that's gone. The kick in is out. Right. So now we've basically replicated what this person had inadvertently done. Is they deleted a track. They now have a situation where their undo history is cleared because of what we just talked about, and can't get back, or thinks they can't get back in the same way as they could in the past. One easy way to do that is to go to revert to save, which is right in your file menu. Yep. So we'll click revert to saved.
Yep.
So I haven't pressed save since doing my delete thing. So it will say revert to the last.
That's important. Don't hit save.
Don't hit save
at that point, right? And we'll have it back.
And there it is. There's our kick in track.
Right. So there and there it is. So you've recovered. Here's the problem though, is it's gone back to your last saved version in toto. Right? It hasn't recovered the track that you've undone. It's gone back to the last saved version. So if you've done cool edits, those are also gone. Does that make sense?
It's more of a caveat, I think. It's the best option that we have available to us, I think.
You know what? It is one option, but not necessarily the best.
No, you're right.
Now, so let's go into another avenue. So do me a favor and go to your preferences.
I spoke too soon.
Okay, and we're going to go into operation. And down there, you've got auto backup. And this, again, this is what I said before, is I think everybody tries to live life not auto backupping once, and then they never do it again. So auto backup is, again, a little bit different than other applications. It saves backups of your session file, right? And you can choose how many and how often that backup happens.
Can I ask a question quickly, because I'm going to show my backup folder in a second. But every time I go in to teach somebody about auto backups, the frequency and the volume changes, because I usually have mine set for an hour's worth of backups backed up every minute, because I do a lot of for me, I do a lot of stuff. But for me personally, that's the wrong approach, because you can only save 1 minute by doing that, right?
So and you can only go back for 1 minute for 1 hour. So let's say you take an important phone call, then you get a cup of coffee, and then you're back after 1 hour 15 minutes. Then you're screwed again.
If your session is
Maybe.
not focused, it won't do backups.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, makes sense, but
Right.
I personally I would keep it at 5 minutes, because the most you have to rework an entire 4.5 minutes or something, and I'd save 20 backups instead.
I keep it at 1 minute, and I go with 99. So we have 3 different people and 3 different approaches. Not only do I do so let's take a look at this, because we're talking about what we do, not exactly what these preferences do. So the first thing is enable session file auto backup. Check that box. Trust us. Trust the voice of experience. We have the scars for it. Let our suffering be your gain. Okay, so don't uncheck that box. How many you keep is how many backup files will be in your session file backups folder. So if you've got, so in this case, Dave's got 60. So it will keep the most recent 60 backups for that session by name. And stick a pin on that, because we're going to go somewhere else. And it will make a backup every 1 minute. Now, there are 2 situations where it will not make backups: when the application is not focused, which means you can't do anything to it, and it'll just sit there and not back up. So if you take a phone call and you've got Microsoft Word up there, then it won't do backups in the background. The other thing is, while you're playing a session, it won't do backups if you're not doing other editing while you're doing that. So it's fairly intelligent about when it does its backups. Okay, but if you take a look over here, you're going to see. Oh, this is great. You're doing exactly right. Or you're doing it the way I do it, which I assume is right. If you take a look at the backup folder, you'll see that Dave has 2 different series of backups. So where are you? So the cool thing is that I know, because I'm looking at it here, you've done a save as.
Yes.
And you've got another session that's in that same folder. So you've saved as a different version. I do that all the time. And one of the really cool side effects of this is that it will, so for example, you've got I'm on the road again, and then there's back, and then whatever the number is. So it's on the road again, back, and then you must have saved it as I'm on the road again lesson, and it backed up that, and then you did I'm on the road again BD lesson, and it backed up there. So if you get into a habit of when you reach a point of arrival doing a save as, then it will retain and preserve the backups for that other named session without deleting them, which is another layer of recovery that you have.
Yeah, indeed. And my reason for doing 1 minute over an hour is I tend to do a lot in a very short space of time. And if there's something that I want to undo or something I want to recover, it's likely that it would have just happened. So if I have to recover something quickly, it's like I'm not going to be losing a lot of edits. But also, if my main Pro Tools document corrupts, gets deleted, whatever, I've always got probably the most recent thing that I've done saved inside my session backups folder.
And now
totally your preference. For me, I'm like 5 minutes. I can rework 5 minutes, and I'd probably do it faster than I did last time. That's my personal view on it. But of course, everyone should do as they please in this case. Yeah.
And here's where we can get to, I think, a better workflow for the person who's deleted his track. So Dave, if you could, let's do one final thing. So this is on the road again? Yeah, I'm on the road again lesson. Great, fantastic. So go ahead and let's make an edit on SNT. So go ahead and go on SNT and just select an area and just delete it.
SNT, so just select an area and go, ooh.
Great, fantastic. So we've got an edit, and let's assume that it's great, it's fantastic, we love that, it's perfect, it's Grammy, right? Now delete the kick in track.
I'm being really careful right now not to just automatically go Command S.
Correct. No, completely. Now
It's so automatic for me.
Now, hit Command S. So what's happened is he's saved it, but he inadvertently deleted a track. So revert to saved is not going to work for him.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're going to do is you're going to go up to import session data. And then navigate into one of your session file backups. And I think you're in the wrong backup folder there.
You're right. I am.
Recent places. I'm on the road again. Down. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so the most recent version of the session would have been there. Let's go for an earlier one, though. Let's go for that one, because I know that the stuff was definitely in there.
Great.
Okay.
Fabulous. Now, it's going to open up the import session data, and the one that you deleted was kick in.
Yep.
All right. Kick in. Yep, there you go. Just pop that one as a new track.
As a new track or overwriting the current one?
Well,
of course.
You don't have a current one.
I delete, of course.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Pop it.
Can I recover my snare stuff?
No. Let's say the snare stuff is good.
Okay.
So here's the point: is keep your edits, but pull back in what you deleted.
Comprende. Okay, so I'm bringing in stuff.
And now kick in is in there somewhere. You're going to have to find it and move it back to where. There you go. It's at the bottom. Bump. And now you've recovered from that. So there's a lot of different ways. I think we've shown that there's a lot of different strategies for doing this. And at the heart of a lot of this is understanding what can be undone, so that you can what revert to saved is going to do. And then when revert to save falls over and doesn't work for you, then understand what Pro Tools' logic is with regards to session file backups. Use the preference and use import session data. Bob's your uncle. I can't tell you the amount of times that this has saved my life.
So what else is an undoable action? We can't undo plugin settings. So
that is undoable or undoable?
It's an undoable action. Sorry, yes, no, you're right. An undoable action.
So,
yeah. So plugin settings are an undoable action. They can't be undone.
Keep me honest on this, but I believe deleting clips will do the same thing. Go ahead and check me on that one.
As in deleting clips.
Yeah, deleting. So go to the clips in the clips list. Just clear it. Yeah.
Yes, that's an undoable.
I'm talking about
action
I'm talking about actually deleting them, sending them to the trash.
Yeah, this is definitely an undoable action. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead with that one. Yeah. Yep.
It's clear. There it is.
There you go.
So what am I doing?
By the way, before you do anything, make sure that you don't need this, because if you delete it, it's actually really gone.
So which one?
But let's. Don't push that one yet.
So move
to trash. Yeah, let's go with that one.
So moving it to the trash will allow it to be recovered from the trash.
Right, but go ahead and take a look at your. Yep, there's your trash bin. Go back to your Pro Tools undo history, and I think it's going to be clear. I'm not 100% sure, so check me on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So be careful. So again, the first Hagerman rule: don't delete, unless you're really, really super sure, and even then, think about it.
So let's put that back.
No, stop what you're doing. Jeez, some Lord mercy.
Right, so I can't put it back. Can I? I can't undo. I actually have to manually move it back into.
Wait, there's no.
No, I was expecting a put back. I don't
Probably
have that.
because you haven't dragged it to the trash. Pro Tools has done the delete, so you're gonna have to manually drag that.
I'll stick that back in later. But if we just go to another example, all that will happen is when I reload the Pro Tools session after I put it back. After I put it back into the audio files folder, I'd have to re-import it and then spot it, I would imagine. But yeah, so move to trash, send it to trash. Delete will just delete it completely. Remove, though, that will just remove it for the session. So when we reload the session, it's not going to be part of the session anymore.
That's right, but the file stays where it was.
But the file stays where it is, so it can be re-imported.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, that you're dealing with a sound library, right? And you're dragging stuff in, and you're not copying it into your audio files folder, but you're referring to it in its original location. You don't want to delete that file because it's part of your sound library. You want to use it for other things. So understanding your undos and your options of your deleting options, then those are all, I think, important things to understand.
Totally. So what are other actions that can't be undone? I think there are a couple of hilarious ones. Of course, if you close Pro Tools, you can't undo that. You need to reopen it manually.
Yeah, and that used to be a Pro Tools exam question.
Yeah, I know. That's why I mentioned it. Yeah, but that shows a sense of humor from the team that actually wrote those questions.
Okay, so we've got deleting tracks that can't be undone. We've got deleting stuff on the clips list that can't be undone.
Yeah, if you remove a plugin, removing a plugin is not undoable, right?
No, that's not undoable.
How about deleting a group?
Deleting a clip group?
I don't. No, a proper group.
Yeah, actual.
The group.
I'm not sure.
I don't think that's undoable.
Undoable.
Yeah.
No, it's not undoable.
There's too many double negatives today for me. So delete the group is not undoable. It actually tells us.
I told you it's not undoable.
Yeah. Just in general, the word delete, avoid it. Just don't delete things.
It's better to just disable or make inactive.
Or if you're going to delete something, save as a new version so that your session file backups start a new thread. So do a save as a different thing, and then you can delete things all you want, and you can re-import it from another session, from another session backup, which is why I go with versions.
And having a strategy on this has saved me out of a lot of trouble as well. I can't tell you how many times I've had a producer or director coming in to watch one of my mixes on Tuesday, and he says everything is great. Every day I do a new save as at least once, saving in the date, and then on Friday he comes back and says, no, I liked it a lot better on Tuesday. And if I hadn't done this grandfathering method where every day name a new save as and with the date, I couldn't find that session again. So I'm really happy with that. I learned that from a programmer.
Yeah, great.
That grandfathering.
That's
basically every time you do a big adjustment, you save as a new version.
That's a great point, but it does kind of lead the question: what happens if you do something in the next day, but say you did this thing 2 days ago? We really like that. Can you bring that into the session?
Yeah,
as well.
I'd reopen the old one. And then I would use import session data from the newer one. Yeah.
And I've got a lot of projects when I'm doing post stuff, and I don't have a lot of time in a dub stage or something like that. I save every day. Sometimes I save morning and afternoon, right? Just to have a new session with a new name, so that I can always go back. And not only can I go back to a file backup with a different name and know which day I'm looking at, but their entire 99, in my case, backups. So I can go to the end of my Tuesday morning, and if it's not there, I can go back 99. So I've gotten myself into a position where it's very unlikely that I'll lose anything that I really, really need.
That's a really great tip. That's one thing I don't do, and I'm going to start doing that because that makes so much sense. So a few episodes ago, we were talking about some of the first things that you would do when you first get Pro Tools, or when you are kind of starting a new session. We'll go in and we'll set our playback engine. We might check our I/O and whatnot. We'll head into preferences and just set whatever your preferences are for auto backups. It doesn't cost anything to turn it on, so there's no reason to have it off, really.
And it doesn't, it's not like was it Spotlight, the backing up of hard drives, which will sometimes make your system a little bit slow. It doesn't do that. It's not backing up all of your audio media. It's backing up a session file. So it's creating very, very small files. Definitely worth the investment in space, right? And it doesn't, trust me. Professionals are working on Pro Tools day in and day out, having sessions back up without anybody noticing, right? So there's no performance loss. There's no real appreciable increase of disk space used. Is there an increase of disk space used? Yes, the size of a session file, which is tiny, and it's just definitely worth it in my book.
Yeah. So there's something else important that came out of today's episode, is that Andy has rules. So we should print out Andy's rules and we should stick them on the fridge. Number one being, don't delete anything.
Don't delete. I'll give you the first two. When in doubt, choose option. And this is mostly for people who are taking Avid exams. The most used modifier key is the option key. So if you don't know what the shortcut is, it's probably option.
Yeah, or alt for everyone else.
Alt for the Windows users. Yep.
Yeah. Even the Mac users, the bloody key says alt.
It doesn't. Mine says option.
Mine says alt.
So on my laptop it says option, but I've got a keyboard here that does double duty with.
Wait. Yeah. Guys, let's settle this now. Look at this.
All
this
right.
is a Mac
Okay.
keyboard. Can you see it?
I can see that. Right. Okay. So I'll see your. So here's my. Here's my
guys,
keyboard.
It's possible
like yours.
that we're getting off track.
Look,
with this
there
show.
we
I'm
go.
just saying.
Dude,
Clean your keyboard. Jesus.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I get that a lot. So there's alt. Look.
How many egg sandwiches have you eaten on this computer?
I know what
alt.
the problem is.
But new MacBook option. Is this thing is backwards, but it says option.
Your problem is that you're not an American keyboard. You're a British, and everything the British do is backwards, right?
That's just.
Oh, Jesus Lord.
Sorry, I need to edit that.
Right. Okay, Andy.
was a joke, by the way,
We need to put this to a vote. Do we vote?
We need to put this into arbitration.
No. Do we vote that gets edited out?
No. That is in.
Yes.
That is completely in.
Damn it. Like I said, I should keep my mouth shut. I'm leaving for today. Good show.
No, not because it was a fair criticism, but Anders is going to get flamed on this one. Every British person listening to this show is going to put a comment down here about Anders' negative feelings towards the fine British people.
It's all directed at me, Andy. It's all good when we're on a Zoom window, but the moment we end up in a room together, it's going to be like Saucer of Milk Table 2,
Wait, hold on. That's a movie quote. Austin Powers?
I really need to
Possibly.
go in like 1 minute.
Sure.
Okay.
Now you have to. What are you leaving the union? Is that what you're doing?
All right.
British
Well,
slam. Anyways, that didn't work.
In that case, everybody, wave at the screen. Wave bye, Anders. Bye, Anders. Bye. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope that was a useful one for you. If you haven't done so yet, hit like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel, and hit the bell icon as well, so that you get notified of all the videos that we release. Head over to protoolsanswers.com. You can subscribe over there. Andy sends you a newsletter every week. He's got a nice little gift in there that unfortunately isn't a shirt, but you can buy.
But you can buy one.
You can buy these shirts from protoolsanswers.com. working on some other little interesting ideas as well. Some stuff for you to buy too. And where else can they go? Patreon.com. If you want to support us, you can head over to patreon.com/Pro Tools Answers, and we would really appreciate your support and help keep us going and in shirts. Thank you very much, Anders. Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you very much, you guys. My name's Dave. This is Pro Tools Answers, and Anders is out really quickly.